Good evening, everyone, and happy Saturday. I hope you had a great, safe, and fun week. This week, we will be studying the seventh commandment. The seventh commandment is, Thou shalt not commit adultery. It's a commandment more so aimed at adults. However, you should start studying the Bible as early as possible to get a great understanding. This week, we have a special surprise. We have some parents from Greater New Antioch that will be discussing the seventh commandment with their kids. But don't think Doug won't be around. He'll also be here to discuss the seventh commandment as well. So I hope you enjoyed this Bible study lesson with a special edition featuring families from Greater New Antioch. I'll see you all after the lesson.
Hello, I'm Charlotte Jones, and this is Drew and MJ. Today, I'm going to be talking to them about the seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery. Whenever you get married, you say vows to your spouse. And these vows you do before God. You promise vows to each other, and you promise to be faithful for each other. So the seventh commandment says, thou shalt not commit adultery, meaning you should be faithful to your spouse. So, MJ and Drew, when y'all get a girlfriend, what do you think that means?
You don't kiss her.
You save that kiss for when you get married. That is correct. MJ, what do you think it means when it says you should not commit adultery? What can you do when you get a girlfriend to be faithful to her?
I'll save my first kiss to her.
Say that again. Say it louder.
I'll say my first kiss to her.
That's right. So, even as a young child, you can still follow this commandment yourself. Whenever you get older and you get that girlfriend, you save that first kiss for your marriage. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the video.
Hi, family and friends of GNABC. My name is Kawana, and I will be talking to you guys about committing adultery. Now, with committing adultery, it's between a husband and a wife. Committing adultery is breaking your promises. Many of you know about when mommy says, I promise that I'm going to get you this toy, or I promise that, you clean up your room, you'll be able to get this. However, that's the same and not the same. Adultery is between a husband and a wife when they break their promises. They break their promises in saying that they're going to be faithful, they're going to be honest, they're going to be loyal to each other. Those are things called commit adultery, where you don't honor your vows, where you don't say, hey, yes, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. You first make the vow to God, and then after you make that vow to God, you're making that vow to your husband and your wife. Now, you're going to understand it more when you grow up, because when you grow up, you're going to know that that you're going to say things that you want to make sure that you hold to them. You don't change your mind. You don't. It may get kind of hard, but you don't break those promises to your husband or your wife. You always tell them that, hey, yeah, we are we're having a rough patch, but that doesn't mean that you're going to break your promise. You never want mommy and daddy to break that promise to you. So, and when you have your husband and your wife, when you grow a little bit older, when you go ahead and get your college education, and when you get all of that, that's when you're going to get your husband or your wife. Or just when God tells you you're going to get your husband and your wife, that's when you'll be able to understand what it means. Do not commit adultery. You keep those promises, those pinky promises, those promises that you say out of your mouth, those promises that you write down. You always keep them, and you let them know, hey, I love you. And I am going to keep my promise to you. I'm going to make sure that I don't go outside of my marriage and do something that I'm not supposed to do. And whenever you say, I promise, or I know that I'm going to be faithful, or I'm going to be loyal, they always listen to that. And those things stick in your heart. And when those things stick in your heart, people think about them quite a bit. So when they think about them, and then you break that promise and you commit adultery, yeah, it hurts. It hurts quite a bit. So you don't want to hurt your husband or your wife when you get older. You always want to make sure that you're there for them, and they understand where you're coming from, and they don't have no reason not to trust you, and they don't have a reason to say, hey, you committed adultery. I didn't commit adultery. I just want to make sure that you understand, guys, when you say that you're going to honor your vows, when you're going to keep your vows, you're going to understand your vows, and you're going to walk your vows out. Yeah, God listens to that, and He hears that, and your friends and your family hear that also. So make sure that you keep your promises. I know I've said promises a lot, but that's another word for being loyal. That's the opposite of committing adultery. Just always remember, whenever you think about your husband or your wife, you make sure that you're able to honor your vows. You're there to honor what you're saying to that person. Right before God, before the people, before the witnesses, and all those people that's going to come to your beautiful wedding, you make sure that you can honor all those things, okay? So I have enjoyed these few minutes with you guys. And always remember, keep your promises, don't commit adultery, and understand that seventh commandment. You all have an awesome evening, and God bless.
You shall not commit adultery. Hey guys, it's me again, Douglas, and today we're continuing in our 10 Commandments series, and we're talking about the 7th commandment, which is do not commit adultery. Now, adultery, really, this commandment is, well, it's not really super for kids. You know, it's mostly for adults because adultery has to do with marriage. Yeah, and men and women get married, not boys and girls. It's not something that you do as a kid, it's something that you do when you grow up. But I think that even as kids, we can still follow this commandment. We can still learn this commandment and know what it means and try to obey it. Because see, adultery pretty much means breaking the promises that you make when you get married. Because when you get married, you make promises to each other and you make promises to God about each other. Have you heard of marriage vows? Yeah, well, a vow is like a promise. And so if you've ever seen a wedding, you see the bride and the groom and they're standing up there, and then the pastor asks them some questions. He says, will you do this thing? Will you do this thing? And they say, I do. And they say, I do. They're making promises. They're making vows about marriage. And adultery is when you break those promises. Marriage is very important to God. Very. You know, actually, in the days of creation, God made the whole earth, all the plants and the animals, and the land and the sea and the stars and the sun and the moon, all that stuff. He made it all in 6 days. Yeah, and every time he made something, he would say, and he saw that it was good. He made this, and it was good. He made the plants, and it was good. He made the animals, and it was good. And he made, the sun, and it was good. He made all this stuff, and it was good. But there was one time in creation, when it's talking about when God made the world, there was one time when it was not good. It was not good for Adam to be alone. Because see, God made Adam first, but he didn't have a companion. Among all the animals, he was alone. And so God made Eve, the first woman, to be with Adam so that they could be with each other and they could be married. God made marriage at the same time that he made people. We need to show marriage the respect that it deserves. And I think that even right now as kids, that we can still follow this commandment. We can still show respect to marriage. See, I know this kid, and he's even younger than I am, and he said that he married his girlfriend, okay? And so I'm just a kid, and he's like a little kid. He said he married his girlfriend. First of all, kids do not need boyfriends and girlfriends, okay? No, we don't need that. That's for when you get older. But you definitely don't need a husband or a wife if you're a kid. That's not really marriage. I think that it's okay for us to imagine, one day we might get married. And I think that we should ask ourselves when we're going to do something, we should ask, is this thing something that my future husband or my future wife would want me to do? And if the answer is no, like kissing somebody else, then we shouldn't be doing that. Here's the thing. I'm not interested in kissing a girl right now. I don't want cooties or anything like that. But when I grow up and I have a wife, I don't want that wife to be kissing other guys. No. And I'm pretty sure my wife wouldn't want to see me kissing other girls. So even as a kid, I'm not going to kiss a girl. I've decided I'm going to try to save that first kiss for my wife. Because if I don't think she'd want me kissing somebody after we're married, I don't think she'd want me kissing somebody before we're married either. And I think that even right now as kids, that we can still follow this commandment, and we can show marriage the respect that it deserves, and we can keep our promises. Because a big part of adultery is breaking the promise that you made when you got married. When you make a promise, God wants you to keep it. So my challenge to you guys today is that we would show marriage the respect that it deserves, and that we should keep our promises.
Hey everyone, I'm back. Did you enjoy this week's Bible study lesson? I know I sure did. Did you enjoy the talk that the parents had with their kids about the seventh commandment? Did you have a great understanding of what it means? I like to simply think of it as don't break anyone's heart. I really want to thank the parents, Miss Charlotte and her boys, for participating and submitting their videos for this Bible study lesson. I hope you got a good understanding. Also, don't forget about the activity sheets and coloring sheets this week on our website at www.gnabc.org. I'll see you next week for next week's lesson. And also, don't forget to wash those hands.